like my long-term goals, I'm very ambitious. I'm very aggressive. Like I expect perfection out of myself. So like my goal is for a future, be a first-round pick. That's like step one. That's some people's dreams. I just treat that as like another stepping block. And then it's, getting promoted in the minors. It's playing professionally. That's being an all-star. It's being a World Series champion. It's winning a Cy Young. It's hopefully being in the Hall of Fame. So I have very ambitious goals for that in my professional career. Hi, I'm Brody Bumila, and this is Cassell's Corner podcast.
Hi, everyone. This is Tommy Cassell, your host of Cassell's Corner. I'm joined today by Brody Bumila from Bishop Feehan. He's a senior left-hander from Raynham, 18 years old, University of Texas commit, can throw 101 miles per hour on his fastball. I recently saw Brody pitch at St. John's High School, 4 perfect innings, got the win. Brody is the #1 ranked prospect in all of New England for high school baseball players. And Brody, it was kind of fun to watch you pitch the other day.
Yeah, it was super fun to get back on the mound competing, especially beat a good St. John's team. It meant a lot to the team to kind of get rolling and keep rolling through the season with that big win.
Yeah, speaking of rolling, you had to deal with an elbow injury. You had internal brace surgery, I think, in 2025. Mm-hmm. What is it like to get rolling and back on the mound after your injury?
Yeah, it was so fun to get, especially back on a physical mound facing batters, because, in the offseason, I was 100% by November because I had surgery in May of 25. I was 100% by November. And, there's something different about being on the mound on a field playing someone with a batter compared to just throwing bullpen. So it meant so much to be back on the mound competing for Feehan and getting to be able to, do well, too.
Yeah, you've done really well, almost perfect, if you will. Mm-hmm. I'm going to read your stat line here. So in 10 innings pitched, you have 27 strikeouts. You've hit 4 batters, which I hate to be one of those 4 guys. 3 balls have been hit in the field of play, all outs. You've walked nobody and allowed no hits. Mm-hmm. How would you say the spring's gone so far for you?
Yeah, it's gone really well, but I just need to hopefully keep this up when I'm able to go deeper into games, able to go 5, 6 full complete games, the full 7 in high school. So we'll see how it goes when I get deeper into games, and hopefully I can just continue this level of dominance on the field.
Yeah, nearly perfect. That's pretty fun to watch. It was fun to watch at St. John's. You guys beat them, like I said. What is it like? I asked this to Peyton Tolley because he's the #1 Red Sox prospect right now on Cassell's Corner on this podcast recently. He has the #1 ranking for all Red Sox prospects. You have the #1 ranking for all high school baseball prospects in New England. Yeah. What is it like to hold that title of #1 ranked high school baseball player in this area?
I think it's super cool to have that, that just kind of like achievement to say I'm that, but I don't really think about New England. I kind of think more nationally. I wanted you still try to move up those boards, move up the rankings as much as possible, and just be able to compete on the mound. I don't really think too much of it because I'm so focused on just go out competing well at my start, and then I can worry about all that stuff when the draft time comes.
Yeah, it's almost like noise, if you will, but it's nice to have that noise be centered around you as opposed to not, right? So to tell your story, I think we have to go back a couple years. I think you first developing some discomfort in your elbow in 2024. You came back apparently. You came back from that discomfort, and then you got injured again late in 2024, and then had surgery. Can you just tell us a little bit about what happened and your injury?
Yeah, in spring of 24, I just was overthrown. I was throwing like 100 pitches every game in April, and it was, this New England weather was 45 degrees, so it wasn't too good on my arm. Had just a little, not even a strain, it was just discomfort, and I had to take about 2 or 3 weeks off, which was fine for me. And then, I pitched really, really well in the summer, did super well. Definitely, college's looks. That's when I started getting ranked #1 New England and all that. And then USA Baseball, I partially tore my UCL, which wasn't terrible because it didn't require surgery, but it was only, I think, between like 20%. So it was a PT rehabable, which I did, and everything worked well. And then in February of 25, I was just throwing a bullpen, and I just it tore 50%, I believe. So not even that terrible either. And then, I got the MRI, it said I needed surgery. And then in May, I got just the internal brace surgery, not full Tommy John. So all they had to do was just, put the they had to like lace back the UCL, and then they just put a brace over it. So it wasn't too bad. It was only a 6 months recovery compared to normal Tommy John's 13. So
how hard was that to deal with an injury? Like you're obviously a pitcher. You throw every 5 days, if you will, for a normal schedule. Like, not being able to pitch, was that like hard for you over a year, not being able to get out there and do what you do best?
To be honest, I thought it was, but it wasn't at all. I mean, I was just kind of more, set my focus for baseball this year and kind of said, this is going to be the year I go dominate. If I had to be down last year and, the entire fall and all of 2025, to be honest, I had to be down, and I was completely fine with it, knowing that 2026 just might be my year. So I didn't really have too much of a struggle with it.
So Brody, I want to ask you about basketball.
Yeah.
This past winter, you won a Division I state championship, and I want to read your stat line too here. You averaged 40 points per game, 20 rebounds per game in the MIA postseason to help Bishop Feehan beat the number 1, number 2, number 3 seeds.
Yeah.
And then you guys won at Songus Center. What was that basketball run like for you?
Yeah, I mean, the basketball run was probably the funnest athletic. I would say it's probably how long? How many weeks was that? That was like it was, I think, 16 days from the first Friday when we played Acton Boxborough to the Sunday we played Central Catholic. And I would probably say it was like 16 of the best overall like days and feelings of my athletic career in my life. Because, that Friday, Acton Boxborough, we already played them earlier in the year. We won by 20. And in an away game, too. So, we had to drive an hour and a half, watch the JV game, and then being able to just play at home. It was a super early game, too, at 5 o'clock because we had like a doubleheader. So we just came in with so much energy and just beat Acton Boxborough. But really the game that I said that kind of like set us off was the Needham game. You're playing a 3 seed on a Wednesday night. I think it was at 7. The gym was tiny. It was packed. The crowds were crazy. And then winning a 4 overtime game against Needham kind of really set it off. And, I thought we could win a state championship the whole year. But from there, I really thought it was achievable. And then, the 6 seed BR, which I would probably say was better than Andover, was probably better than Andover, and between Needham and Central Catholic was very, very good. And that was in a great game, especially being from BR area, being able to go beat my hometown in a double overtime game where I'm kind of like the centerpiece of the team meant a lot. And then Andover was kind of just a rolling, we played great that game. I think we beat them by 20, and then beating Central Catholic in the state championship, them being the 1 seed, us being the 14, meant so much, and being able to, celebrate there with all my friends and all the team, it was just meant so much because all those teammates, those are my boys, those are my guys, and it meant so much to just come in and roll to a state championship with them.
Yeah, you look so happy, especially winning at Songus. You could just see the joy, just the elation that you had to go on that run. You mentioned quadruple overtime. You mentioned double overtime. I know Needham High, they are a good basketball program. To do that in that small gym, and then, like you said, you went back home, basically, and beat your hometown team. That was fun to watch from afar. We don't cover Bishop Feehan, but just to see that. And then you got thrusted, like I said, into this national spotlight. There was hey, this is a baseball player who might be the best basketball player in this MIA tournament, which has got to be kind of cool for you. And I wonder, because you are committed to University of Texas, you are a baseball player first. Did you have any hesitation of playing basketball this winter at all?
I had some hesitation early into the surgery. It was kind of when I was, in that super early period, I didn't even have my brace off. I still have a brace on, and I was contemplating playing basketball because I sprained my ankle in basketball last year, and I was just is there really a point of playing basketball if I might get hurt for baseball? But, come June, come July, when I got the brace off and I was just enjoying life and not really worrying about baseball and all of that, I was I have to play basketball because, I was with them every day, hanging out with them. And during the summer, just going to the beach, hanging out and just having a good time. And I was these are my guys and I want to have one more ride with them. And knowing I was close to 1,000 helped a little bit, but playing for the team kind of meant the most, knowing that we had a chance at the state championship.
State championship, I'm assuming you got to 1,000 points.
I did. I think I ended roughly around 1,300.
That's pretty awesome. So you hit that milestone individually. Team-wise, you can't get better than the Division I state championship. That's quite the winner for you.
It was a fun winner. I also, hit 99 too in a bullpen, so it was super fun and kept the baseball high and kept me staying excited for baseball season.
What was your schedule like? Did you basketball is probably practice or game 6 times a week? Did you have baseball on Sundays? How did you fit baseball in?
So I would always lift twice a week too, based around on a 2-game-a-week schedule, which we were on basically the whole year. It would be the day after the games, lift. I would throw every day I don't have a game. and then Sunday would be off no matter what. If that, like whatever day I had off would be off no matter what, but I would basically be playing baseball every day. I didn't have basketball or a game still.
That's a hectic schedule along with school, but you made it work, right?
I made it work, yeah.
I think something people might want to hear about is your recruitment process and how you landed on University of Texas. I think you were, after your sophomore year, you committed. So can you tell us a little bit about the recruitment process and what
the recruitment process for baseball is, August 1st going into your junior year. That's when you can start communicating with coaches. But, I knew Texas had a lot of interest because my agent, they were at A&M. When they were the #1 team in the country, that whole coaching staff was there. And, my agent, Alex, kept saying they were super interested. A bunch of other teams were super interested. And, come August 1st, I was on the phone with Max Wiener, the pitching coach, for probably an hour. Like 7. I got an MRI that day for my arm, like because I got hurt like 2 or like a week before. So I was sitting there post MRI, like super tired, just talking to him for an hour, and I was like, wow, like this is that's a good coach. That's like a great coach. That's someone I want to coach with. And then the really only other school I was heavily considering was Wake Forest too, with Coach Muscara, the pitching coach, and I'd say I had some great conversations with him too. But when the tours came and I visited Texas, it was just like, you get that taste of the SEC, and you're like, oh my gosh, like this is kind of what you'd live for as a college baseball player. You'd live for the 10,000 people showing up to your games on Friday nights, the competitiveness, the atmosphere. When you go to Texas, you go to win. I mean, look at all their other programs, always ranked nationally. Like it's kind of a problem if your program's not a nationally ranked team at Texas. So like you're surrounded by winners, you're surrounded by competitors. So that was kind of like the main kicker to Texas, and then also. It was just the coaching staff just had the same philosophies as me, and that was a pretty easy decision because I had that visit, my first ever visit, and I was just blown away by them.
It's good. It sounds like your recruitment process was pretty short and sweet then. Huh?
Yeah, it was.
Do you have any advice for people that are going through it? Obviously, you had a little bit of that must have been a weird week for you to go from being hurt, having an MRI, to kind of be on that phone call for an hour and then committing, right?
Yeah.
You kind of committed right then and there,
I committed
right?
like 2 months after, yeah.
Okay. You were kind of in a limbo probably mentally, right? Because you're like, shoot, my elbow's hurting. I don't know if that was like tough at all for you to deal with the injury and also being recruited at the same time.
I don't think it was tough because I knew the injury wasn't bad because I knew I would be in a lot more pain if it needed surgery because they had a specialist doctor at USA Baseball kind of sitting there and be like, hey, buddy, it's not as terrible as you think. You probably don't have to get surgery. So I wasn't too concerned knowing I would, if I didn't get hurt, which I did again, but I would be back for the spring, so I wasn't too concerned at all. And then, the recruitment process was fine. I was expecting it. I mean, that's what you get. The new August 1st rule, that's what I was told, was you just expect to field 25 calls that first day, and then you can just keep making cuts from there on for recruiting.
Yeah. The recruitment process is very interesting for nowadays for college sports and then high school athletes that want to be college athletes, right? You mentioned your agent, 18 years old. What's it like to have an agent?
Yeah, it's super nice. I mean, Alex Saw is just kind of like been a great agent for me. He's been amazing. He's kind of been everything I wanted in an agent. But I'm an 18-year-old. I don't need anything other than baseball advice. And then of course, all the scouts that are coming to the games. Like he helps so much with that. But there's nothing too much right now that he has to deal with. But it's super nice to just have someone with that baseball knowledge, have someone with that experience to kind of be in my life and support me. And just be able to support me and be like, hey, Brody, like you're doing fine. Hey, Brody, like this is what you have to do. Just make sure you're looking forward to this. Make sure you're able to do that. Fill this out. And it's just been super nice to kind of have someone to kind of like remind me of all this stuff for baseball.
Yeah, good to have someone help you with this process and guide you along because it's a lot, right? I mean, you're on a podcast right now with a stranger that you don't know at Fuller Park, right? So I want to get back to baseball because we are here at the baseball park. You told me last week that you want to keep ramping up to a spot where you can go full start, don't worry about a pitch limit. How do you get there to a spot where you're full go by the MI postseason tournament? I mean,
I just keep working every day when I'm not starting. Like my start tomorrow, I'll be 70 pitches, so it'll be super nice to kind of, get hopefully in that 5 innings, and then I'll do whatever I need to do to recover for the next 8 days, and then my next start will be 70 to 80 pitches, and it's just a super easy process because the reason we did the low pitch count early in the season is because it's cold too, and also I'm coming off the injury. But I feel great. I felt like I could have gone probably 2 more innings in that St. John's game, and there was just no real point knowing that the team around me is good enough to go win a baseball game. So why not just kind of like keep me in the back burners for now and not really have to worry about getting me hurt again and just let me ramp up how I'm supposed to, especially with basketball, not being able to ramp up as much for baseball, and just let me ramp up in season, and I'll probably be good to go full games in 2 starts.
Yeah, I mean, we're here at Polar Park where they had the high school MIA state championships. I have a feeling you guys will be in the conversation Division I later this season. Obviously, just be a pretty good St. John's team. What would it mean to cap off your senior year of high school with a Division I state championship in basketball, and then hopefully maybe get here and play in a state championship here at Polar Park?
I think it would mean everything to just, I think it would be the perfect ending for my high school career, considering that like freshman year, you know, just kind of like always on JV, the teams just couldn't take that next step to win games in the playoffs. Sophomore year and junior year, I was basically hurt for most of all those seasons. And then being able to come in senior year and everyone's kind of like looking up to me, being like, are you going to go prove that you're the best, you know, one of the best athletes in the state, and being able to cap that off with 2 state championships would mean a lot to me. So
yeah, that'd be a lot of fun. I don't know if anyone's ever done that, to be honest with you. You'll have to go back and look up some records. But like you said, like I said, you're the #1 prospect for high school baseball in New England, and you mentioned nationally you want to be in those conversations too. A recent Baseball America mock draft came out for the MLB draft, which happens in a couple months. They listed you at number 21, going to the San Diego Padres. One pick before them is the Boston Red Sox at number 20. I'm assuming you're a Red Sox fan, right?
yes.
So what would it mean to get in, like, to have the Red Sox look at you for a potential draft pick?
Yeah, it would be just a dream to, you know, be a Boston Red Sox. That's what I wanted to be my whole life. That's, you know, it's like that's what everyone dreams of, is to play for their hometown team. And it would be so cool to be able to kind of stay in this area too and live as being a Massachusetts native, to kind of stay in Massachusetts and, you know, live the dream and play for Boston. But, you know, to be honest, it would be the dream. But if any team drafts me, you know, the Padres, whatever teams are picks before that or after, whoever comes and wants me, I'll, you know, give my all for them. I'll be a fan of whatever team drafts me. So, you know, the Red Sox would be a dream, but I would be completely okay going to any other team, because I guess they'll just be my new favorite team now.
Yeah, I mean, it is the dream, right? As a baseball player, to be drafted in the first round, which is you're projected right now. I'm curious, draft day comes in July, or draft weekend, whatever. Obviously, you hopefully be a day 1 pick for your sake.
Yeah.
What would your plans be? Do you have plans, like family-wise, or what would you guys do on that day?
I would probably treat it like any other day, you know, go work out, or probably, I don't know. I'm definitely staying home, but maybe like go to the beach, just kind of like enjoy it as much as possible that day, knowing that I'm going to be leaving in 2 or 3 days after that. Just enjoy it as much as possible, and then, you know, have most of the guys on the team over, have some of my close friends over, and just kind of watch the draft happen, have the camera set up, and then, you know, just hug my mom, hug my dad when my name gets called.
Yeah, it'd be kind of fun. I don't know what I would do. I'd probably stay at home too. You're 6'9". You showed up today in a truck. I was kind of hoping you'd be showing up in a little mini PT Cruiser or a small car. Where do you get your height from?
My height?
Yeah.
My mom's 5'10" and my dad's 6'5", but my mom's family's like super tall. Like, she's one of the shortest people in her entire family, and she's 5'10", and my dad is like average height in his family. So it was kind of really just perfect click of both, and I got up to luckily be 6'9". My brother's 6'5", so there's definitely a lot of height in the family, but I just kind of got that extra step. So
yeah, you had to watch your head going into our elevator here at Polar Park. How tired of you are people talking about your height and asking you about how tall you are?
I'm fine with it now, because, you know, I'm fine with it. I'm able to deal with it. But, you know, people like coming up asking how the weather's up there. I'm like, okay, come on, like, you get it. I'm tall, but I'm completely fine with it. It's just sometimes it gets excessive, but I don't really care that much.
Speaking of people coming up to you, I wonder, because obviously you've become a little bit of a sensation for high school sports in this area, and I guess probably nationally too. Do you have anyone like messaging you on Instagram or Twitter, sliding, like following you, like any like cool DMs, or people following you, or have you talked to anybody, anything like that?
Not really, to be honest. It's not. I mean, I feel like, to be honest, there's some people are like, yeah, you're doing a great job, but there's no like, you know, like peak celebrity that, you know, everyone knows that is DMing me asking about it. But I think it's super cool to, you know, I'm not too fond of social media, like looking on it, like seeing how I'm following and likes, but, you know, I think it's super cool to kind of like get some like recognition for it. But, I'll let you guys know if like Mike Trout or like, Shohei Ohtani DMs me. It's like, you're doing a great job.
Yeah, TBD, right?
Yeah.
I can imagine there's probably a lot of people message you, so that's why I asked that.
Yeah.
One thing I've seen on social media a lot recently is this trend with hacky sacks.
Yeah,
and baseball
the hacky
players.
sack.
Yeah, can you tell me about that?
I don't know. I think hacky sack's just like something super fun to do, but it's also not very athletically requiring. So, the POs, especially on my team, we have our own hacky sack page we post, but the POs on my team, it's like we do our 30 minutes of throwing and, you kind of have that gap where the hitters are hitting and you don't really have to do anything. Why not just play hacky sack? It doesn't require that much athleticism. You're not sweating doing it, so kind of just going to have a good time and play some hacky sack with your friends. I don't know how it started. I don't know why it became a trend, but especially in the New England area, it's just completely blown up. So,
like you guys, Bishop Feehan Baseball has their own hacky sack Instagram page now, right?
We do. And the MIA, there's like a MIA hacky sack page, and it's just kind of just been funny to see that like the one thing that all the teams can bond over is hacky sack, and they make a rule book for it, and they make all the stuff for it. And I just think that's super funny that's the one thing all baseball players can bond over in this state is hacky sack.
Yeah, it's like the most out of left field guiding force for high school baseball players right now is hacky sack, and I suck at hacky sack. Like my foot-eye coordination's awful. I don't know how you could. I mean, how's your foot-eye coordination?
I'm all right. I wouldn't say I'm good. There's a lot of people better than me, but you get so much better just playing it. It's weird. Like it's one of the games where if you just play it enough that you get like actually good at it. But it's just fun to play and kind of just like keep it up. I can only use my left leg though. Like the second, the coordination on my right foot. We'll stay away from trying to use it in a hacky sack.
Okay, right foot not good. I'm going to bring a hacky sack over here to Polar Park and see these guys. I mean, they're probably going to start doing it this week because I think it's gone so viral recently, this hacky sack trend. So we'll see if it keeps going here. We'll see if it comes to Polar Park.
That'll be fun.
Brody, before I let you go, I want to just finish with a baseball question. Like, what are your goals with baseball moving forward?
Like I always look forward to the day by day. Like today for baseball, I'm going to do my recovery throwing, because I'm starting tomorrow, throw super light, do all my post-throw recovery to try to get me set for tomorrow, and then, go out and compete tomorrow. But, like, my long-term goals, I'm very ambitious. I'm very aggressive. Like, I expect perfection out of myself. So, like, my goal is for a future, be a first-round pick. That's, like, step one. That's some people's dreams. I just treat that as, like, another stepping block. And then it's, getting promoted in the minors. It's playing professionally. That's being an all-star. It's being a World Series champion. It's winning a Cy Young. It's hopefully being in the Hall of Fame. So I have very ambitious goals for that in my professional career.
Yeah, and as you should, right? Because you are like at the level you're currently at, you're dominating, and hopefully you can continue that success on the mound and for future starts to come. So it was fun watching you pitch recently, and thanks for coming on Cassell's Corner Podcast.
Thank you very much.
I also want to thank my host, Rick Sinclair, for all his help behind the scenes. You can watch our podcast on YouTube, and you can also subscribe to Cassell's Corner on iTunes, Spotify, or wherever you listen to podcasts. So until next time, I'm Tommy Cassell, and thanks for checking in.